that one that you know as Jesus. And as we tell you every time that we have these communications, we are very, very happy that you are here to learn, to expand, and to raise your frequency. That is what these communications are for, whether we are writing them through this being and it is being converted into a book, whether we are doing a public video, whether we're doing a private reading, or whether we are doing these communications with you. Every time, the purpose is to raise your frequency. And that is what we want you to understand as you go further and further into your studies, that raising your frequency is your project. Everything that we teach you to do, everything that the lessons of A Course in Miracles are directing you to do is raising your frequency. What does that mean? What does raising your frequency mean? Well, raising your frequency is getting yourself in alignment with the frequency of the laws of creation. That is really what we are teaching here. So what are the laws of creation? The laws of creation refer to the fact that you are going to invite to you, like a giant magnet, you are inviting to you experiences, people, places, and things of like frequency. So if you are depressed and sad and angry, you are going to attract experiences, people, places, and things of that frequency. Whether you want them or not, you are going to attract them to you. So one of the basic laws of creation is that you will experience people, places, and things and experiences that match you. So if you are presenting a fashionable, happy, innocent, smiling face, but inside you hate your neighbors, you judge yourself, you're manipulating or trying to control situations to get what you want, that is what is going to be reflected back to you. And that is why your life is such a beautiful lesson for you. And that is why acceptance of that beautiful lesson is the first step in your consciousness evolution. So many beings, when we tell them to accept what is, get very distraught and say, but I don't want what's happening. But we have to tell you, yes, you do. What is happening is showing you your frequency. So you do want it. You want to be able to observe it and say, I like what's happening here, but I don't like what's happening here. If this is my work life, for example, and I don't like what's happening here, what am I doing here that's not like the part of my life that is giving me what I want? So let us say you have a very productive and enjoyable and creative life. Let's say you are an artist of some kind, a musician perhaps. Let us say when you look at your creative life, you are very happy. You're involved with people you like. You're excited. You go for your practice jam sessions with your friends, and everything is going really well. Everything you experience in that part of your life is feeling good to you. But when you go to your work life, perhaps the first thing you do is get up and say, I hate this job. I don't want to go to this place. It's the exact opposite of what you are saying when you go to your jam session with your friends. So if you understand the laws of creation, which is that you're attracting and manifesting exactly what's in accord with your frequency, you can see that, I bring enthusiasm, passion, joy, camaraderie, community to my music practice, but I'm bringing depression, anger, frustration to my work life. Of course, I am not going to manifest the same experience. So the contrast is a beautiful opportunity for you to see where you have differing frequencies at play in the creative process. This is one of the laws of creation, that your most basic law of creation is that you are going to bring to you an experience that is like the frequency you are emitting. Now, it sounds as if your creative work and your work are delineated by a rigid wall in that description. That is not totally the case. But what you can see is that in that general area of your life, you're bringing a much more optimistic, much more happy and loving frequency to play, to bear on that particular part of your life. Now, many of you will say, well, of course, playing music is fun, going to work sucks, as you say in your society. We want to say that we use our dear one's vocabulary, and there are some of you that would say that Jesus would not use that word. Well, we are using the vocabulary of this modern being, and sometimes we do use words such as that to bring a smile to your face so that you do not take all this too seriously, which of course is one of the things that people tend to do. With spiritual study, it becomes very serious, very dour, very pain-ridden and suffering saturated, and we are trying to bring a little lightness to it, even though it may ruffle a few of your feathers to hear us use that phrase. Okay, so despite that sidebar that we just took, we want you to know that we do want you to do work that you love, and that is one of course one of your society's indoctrinations, that work should be no fun and that it causes a great deal of suffering, but you grin and bear it, is one of the phrases that you might use. And of course now you are learning that to grin and bear it is not in your favor, even though you may pay a few more months' bills with that kind of attitude. What you come to understand is that if you're holding a low frequency because you do not like your work, that is going to manifest in other forms in front of you for you to see, so that you can learn that your work frequency is too low. So the laws of creation are quite simple. The laws of creation are such that when you are in accord with the frequency of creation, which is love, then you are going to have a much smoother ride of things. Now, there are beings that are concerned about many other laws, but right now, for most of you, that is enough for you to deal with, that you are emitting a frequency and you will be matched and reflected by the universe so that you may know where you are off track. What this does, this one understanding of this one law, it tells you that to accept what you're seeing, to accept the manifestations, even if it is, let us say, something like a twisted ankle where you are laid up for a couple of days with bandages on your ankle, you may ask yourself, what was I doing in that situation? What was my state of mind when I twisted my ankle? It's an injury. It's a second chakra location. So your body has all of these energy centers that create your body. You're not taught that. You're taught that your body creates your energy, but the opposite is indeed true. The ankle is a second chakra representation, if you will, or the second chakra is responsible for creating that part of the body. That means it has to do with sexuality. It has to do with movement, fluidity, your ability to dance and to connect with your own vital life force, which you often call sexual energy, but that second chakra is where that vital life force is generated and creates the body. So if you twist your ankle, for example, you may be getting a message from the universe that you are not comfortable moving, that you're not comfortable in that second chakra energy center. And that is the kind of contemplation we would suggest all of you make whenever you have a physical demonstration of an energy block. And this is how we would like you to look at illness. We would like you to begin to see that there is a frequency of love that you are made from. That is your home. That is where you are being generated from. Literally, you are not being generated from this place. Your home is connected to you here, like the story of the mothership that Ananda has told you before. Your body is like an exploratory vehicle that has gone down onto the planet's surface and is connected to the mothership. It has information and energy systems that are being generated from there. You are not alone. And that is one of the great illusions of this place. You are not alone. You are being given information all the time, but most of that spiritual information, we will use that word because you understand what we mean, is coming from within you. You have an external demonstration of your creative abilities and your focuses and your frequency. And you have an internal connection to the mothership, to spirit, to your higher self, to your oversoul, to God, if you will. You can use any of these words, whatever one makes you the happiest, you can use. Spirit is never offended by the word you use. Only your religious people are offended by the words you use. Spirit does not care. We are not even listening to the words. We are listening to your frequency, and that is what we want you to keep focused on, your frequency. How happy am I feeling? How at ease am I? How healthy do I feel? How energized am I? How creative do I feel? How compassionate do I feel? How joyful do I feel? If your answer to these things is, I am not joyful at all, then you know that your frequency is lower than it should be. Now, some of you get very upset with yourselves when you feel down or when you get angry or triggered or frustrated. But what we want you to know is that this is your guidance system saying, you might want to take a look here. What are you doing here? What are you thinking here? What are you saying to yourself here? Whatever's going on within you is out of accord with love. Either it's unloving to yourself, so self-loathing thoughts and ideas are going to bring this negative emotion up, or you may be judging somebody else's behavior and saying they shouldn't be doing that, when most of you, and we want you to hear this, what other people are doing really is none of your business. Your business is your behavior. How are you behaving? And this is really the toughest part of mastering this particular law of creation. Your job is to ask yourself, can I be more loving? Can I be more authentic with myself? Am I being truthful with myself? Am I being honest with those beings around me that I care for? Am I focused on kindness to myself and others? And this, again, is one of those difficult aspects of your society, because what has been done with my teachings is you have been told to care for others at your own expense. And this is the idea of suffering and martyrdom. And that is not what I taught when I was on the earth plane so many years ago. And it is not what I'm teaching now. You must first come to respect yourself. You must first come to love yourself. You must first come to honor yourself. And in that self-respect, honoring and loving, you will raise your frequency quite considerably. This is where many people in the Western world are at a detriment. They do not love themselves enough. They do not honor themselves enough. And they are too busy pleasing other people to get something so that their fears or their worries can be quelled a little bit. And this is a long conversation, and we will not carry on the whole in-depth conversation in this answer. But for many of you, you have deep-seated fears, deep-seated lacks, deep-seated confusions, and you seek to resolve those things by getting from other people. The practice of the lessons of A Course in Miracles is to turn your attention inside so that you can see where you are doing that, so that you can see where you are fearful and yet you are placing a smile on your face so that you can get something. You are angry, but you are pretending to be okay because you're concerned about losing something. So many of these things are the self-deceptions and deceptions of others that are the true frequency below the social face. And this is the most important law of creation that you must understand before we go into many others. This is, we will say for most of you, this is a lifetime's work to understand when your feelings are off-center, causing you to feel distress, and being able to learn the correct interpretation of that guidance. But the first thing is, when you begin to feel bad, stop what you're doing and ask yourself, what am I thinking here? What's going on the inside of me, not what's going on the outside of me? Because many of you act out of accord with your feelings, and so you can see that you're behaving in a socially acceptable way on the outside, but on the inside there may be a great storm brewing, there may be a great upset brewing. The training of the lessons, the training of the going inside brings you into a honest dialogue with that heart, mind, spirit of you. And that is where everything begins. You are the projector. You are the creator of your external experience by this internal journey that you are going on. And that is why the Western world has so many challenges, because you are taught the second you feel a little uncomfortable, you are taught to go on your cell phone, go for a drive, go to the store, go to a movie, go to a restaurant. These are the ways you cover up the distresses of your heart and spirit, and you are deeply indoctrinated into action. The Eastern philosophies, and these were brought to the shores of your countries over the last 100 years or so, these Eastern philosophies were brought to the West to balance that intense action-focused mandate that we will say North America and the modern Western world now have, to balance the external experience of your life, which is why you came here, to have some experiences. But if you don't understand what's going on inside, if you don't contemplate how you feel and the thoughts that you are entertaining every minute of every day, you are not going to be able to master the material world. And you are all capable of doing what I did and mastering the material world. But you have systems of teaching and training that have for thousands of years told you the opposite. That is why you struggle so with the idea of looking after yourself, of honoring yourself, of being authentic, telling those you love exactly how you feel and what you want, because many of you have relationships that are built on deception, and it is terrifying for you to imagine being honest, because you think, well, if I'm honest, finally this relationship or this family or this business is going to fail. So we do counsel you always, and consistently so, to do the lessons of A Course in Miracles and to gradually become more familiar with the inner workings of your heart and your mind and the messages that are constantly coming from spirit to you through your inner guidance system. So the laws of creation are this: you reap what you sow, you get what you give, and to receive is as wonderful as to give. So sometimes in your society, some of you will say, no, I don't need that. If somebody perhaps offers you some money to contribute to a dinner or to buy you a little gift because they saw something that you like, allow those small, generous gifts to come to you with grace and with an open heart, because in that receiving, you allow the other person to experience the joy of giving. So sometimes in your very independent, focused society, you are trained to say no to some things that you should say yes to. And that is a very, very good thing to understand, because in refusing to allow somebody else to give, you shut off their energy. Many people have a very, very strong guidance to offer you things, to connect with you, to share with you. This is love extending itself. And if you say no, thank you for offering, but no, you literally prevent the love coming to you that you have been asking the universe to give you. So these are some of the technicalities that can show up when you are learning to interpret the feedback that you are getting from the world. But all of the lessons of A Course in Miracles are designed specifically and strategically to lead you into your consciousness, to show you your angers, to show you your fears and frustrations, to lead you towards a more loving self-concept and a more loving concept of others. But then you must practice them. Then you must say, I am upset today. What did I just do? I broke the law that this lesson is pushing me towards developing and mastering. And this is what the lessons of A Course in Miracles are giving you. They are giving you the directive to focus your mind on, for example, that you are not a body, you are free. How many of you during the day remind yourself, even if you have done the lesson, that you are a body? You keep telling yourself you're a body. So you may have done the lesson for a few days, but repeatedly after you've studied the Course in Miracles, you are now saying, oh no, I am a body, I am a body, I am a body. And so that lesson is no longer being practiced. You are practicing the opposite of that lesson. And so you are bringing your frequency down again. So for those of you that have completed the lessons, remember to continue practicing them. For those of you that are resisting the lessons, understand that this is the fastest way to transform your mind into a higher frequency where you are connected to the positive aspects of the laws of creation, which mean you are going to get back in reflection the frequency that you are holding. And for those of you that are knee deep in these lessons, keep going. Do not let the confusion or struggle or inability to really understand what's happening stop you. You are learning a new way of being. You are learning how to function sanely in your experience of separation. Most of you are functioning insanely in your experience of separation, and you are confused and you wonder why you ever would have chosen this experience, because it is no fun. It is only because you have been taken too far away from love in your training programs in this society. And we are bringing you back. Yes, you are still in separation, but you are going to be learning more and more. When I step away from love, I feel bad. When I step towards it, I feel good. These are baby steps in the beginnings of the lessons, and you will get confused because we are asking you literally to change your personality, not in the way that is a cultish way. And of course, this is a fear that many beings have when they realize that we are transforming your mind. But we want to remind you, your personality has been created by commercial television, by your religions, by your teachers, by your parents. You think you are a certain personality, but as you go through this healing process, you will realize that your anger is falling away. You aren't an angry person. Your judgments are falling away. You're not a judgmental person, and you thought these were parts of your personality, and they are not parts of your personality. They are teachings that have been indoctrinated into your consciousness by unloving concepts and ideas. The people were not loving. Many of the people that trained you had the best of intentions, but they taught you what their parents taught them or their church taught them, which was fear. So we are changing your personality, but the only thing that will go will be your fears, your judgments, your hatreds, your desire to attack, all of these things that destroy relationships and cause problems in your society. That is all that is going to go. And what will be left will be the unique you that you designed before you were born, so that you could have a unique, creative, singular experience that will help enlighten you and help the planet. So we want you to know once again that we are so happy that you are with us in this conversation today. We remind you once again that whenever you come to us,